Hey guys, we're on day 2 now of the repair, and we went ahead and let this dry for full 24 hours, so we just removed it from our drying rack. We're going to go ahead now and take our clamp off. That's where we know we finished the job. If you happen to use a tape or another type of clamp, we're just going to go ahead and remove that. The main objective here is just to hold the compression tape so that it doesn't move as you're compressing it, and it doesn't unwind itself, that's all. So go ahead and unwrap that and start removing it. So you can see our tape actually broke a little bit while we were taking it out. So this is a common thing that happens with this tape sometimes because it's so brittle. It cracks when it's under high compression like that. So I'm just gonna go with a little razor blade here and just pop that back out. It's not usually too big of a deal. There we go. When you do this, just make sure you get all of it. Sometimes you'll miss like a little section of it, and then it won't come all out properly. And there you go. Another little trick here is you want to basically put perpendicular force to when you're unwrapping. So you just want to keep this nice and taut so that when you pull up, it actually pulls up all of the fiber. But everything looks really good. We give it a nice seam on the bottom here where the carbon came back together. It looks solid. And we can go ahead now and just really simply take give it a little squeeze, and just to make sure everything hardened. It did. Solid. And we can just do a quick little coin test here. And yeah, there's no dead spot. I mean, the pitch changes slightly, but it's not going to go. We're not seeing that drastic change that we did before. So we know it's a pretty solid structure. We now went ahead and unwrapped everything. So we're just going to go ahead and sand it. In this case, I'm starting with just a very little bit of some of our 120 that's left over. I'm going to come in here and just get some of the big stuff out real quick, and then I'll come in with the 220. And then finish this off with the 320. One of the things to make sure, like we talked about before, making sure the area is nice and wet. We don't want to have this dry. We don't want to get the carbon airborne. We're trying to keep this nice and clean. It also lets the sandpaper last a lot longer. So again, like I showed you guys before, just going to give it a couple little sprays here, and then spray the sandpaper, and that's it. And we're ready to go ahead and start sanding. We're also going to go ahead now and just flip this over so that we can get the bottom side nicely. And I'm probably just about done now with my 120. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's pretty darn close. Now we're going to come in with our 220 in a minute here, once I get this little roughness out of the bottom done well, and then we'll smooth this out for the final. Once we do that, once we get this 120 and get this little area in here cleaned up, just a little bit of leftover epoxy and stuff, we'll go ahead and do it with the 220, and then we're going to go ahead and unwrap this area and clean up any of the excess material around it to make sure we got a nice clean repair area, and we're ready for finish. Sides look pretty good here. We can see there's a little bit of carbon that's going up over that electrical tape area, and that's fine. It's not going to stick to it very well. So once we unwrap it, we'll clean up that edges, and that's what we're going to use our 320 for. We might touch it with a little bit of 220. And if you did this all right, this sanding area you should be able to do in about 10 to 15 minutes of sanding. It shouldn't be too much. If you're needing to do any more than that and you're taking off too much of the repair area, you are going to have to rewrap it and do it again. And just the more you do it, the better you get at this, and the better prep work you do, the better your finish is going to come out. So we're going to go ahead and unwrap this now. I just like to wipe this thing down a little bit just so that we don't get splatter or mess everywhere. And that's a good sign. We actually didn't get any epoxy that came through that top layer, which is awesome. You don't really need to double wrap it the way I do. I just do it because every now and then epoxy can get through. We typically here at the shop, when we do repairs, we're vacuum bagging, so we don't really have these problems. But at home, most of you don't have a full vacuum setup, so it's a lot more difficult. So this is a really good setup at home, or someone starting out can actually get real good quality results with pretty simple tool set. So yeah, you can see here there's a little bit of tape and residue that's still on here, but we're going to go ahead and be able to remove this, no problem. So again, we're just going to wet the area a little bit. Go ahead and wet the sandpaper a little bit. It's also sometimes an easy way to clear out your sandpaper by just spraying it. It'll actually clear out the paper, so you can use that same piece for a lot longer. So now we're trying to focus a little bit more on the ends here, where we had that tape line, just to make sure that we have it nice and smooth. And we're going to sand out all that details there. And then the only other thing that we're really going to have to deal with here is just removing out these decals. Now this is when you're going to start getting into the overlap of the finish and the sanding here. The repair itself is done. It looks pretty smooth. If you're going to send this out to a painter and have a painter do this for you, the final finish work, you're going to want to sand this down with the 320 and get all the little imperfections out, just to have a nice smooth surface, and they'll be ready to go ahead. Most painters here can actually recreate this decal on the seat tube for you pretty easily. So we are done. Now we're ready for finish. There you go. We've now gone ahead and finished the repair. We've also done our final sanding on the job. We've gone ahead and unwrapped the entire frame, and we can take a close look at what the bike looks like now and come up with all of our finishing options. In this particular case, we could easily remove the entire decal and clear coat it, and it looked pretty good. You probably wouldn't even notice anything really wrong with the bike. You could also go ahead and have a painter recreate this decal for you in paint and paint the whole frame and then clear it. You could also have a vinyl shop possibly just make the decal for you and then clear it. That would look pretty good. The last option you have is if you don't have the ability to clear coat yourself, you can grab a piece of vinyl and basically just cover this up with some black vinyl. You probably wouldn't really notice it too badly with the front derailleur and everything being here. Put a bottle cage on it, you probably wouldn't notice it too bad. You want to make sure that you always cover the repair area with something. You want to protect it from UV rays. In our case, we have used a UV stable epoxy, but we're not quite sure what Giants used in the past. They could have used something that wasn't UV stable. They probably have, and it's probably just fine, but you want to make sure. So we will either recommend to do a UV stable clear coat, which any automotive clear coat is, or using a piece of vinyl. If you use vinyl, make sure it's always covered. Now that we've gone ahead and gone over all of our finishing options, one of the things to clarify between doing an at-home repair and having a professional, like Predator Cycling, repair it for you, is we're going to use a couple different procedures. At our shop here, we use vacuum to do all of our repairs. And that allows us to get even better than the compression tape on the adhesion to the repair and to make sure we get all of the epoxy out. So you really get just that little bit better finish on there, and you get a little bit smoother finish. We're also using a couple different tools here that we don't talk about. This kit and these videos are geared towards at-home repairs, and we're trying to use tools and procedures that you can do at home with everything you have in your garage. The other thing to mention here is that at Predator, we only offer two finishing options. We do a standard clear coat, which would basically be, at this point, we would clean the graphics up and clear coat. The other option that we offer is a match finish. And the match finish would either do a vinyl decal and clear, or have it painted and clear. We don't offer a vinyl coat covering. The reason we do that is we're not sure that a customer will not take that vinyl protective sheet off. We want to make sure that it's fully protected and it's UV stable. We use the top of the line automotive clear coats here to be completely UV stable, and we also use top of the line vinyls here, so you get really nice, thin, crisp edges. As you can see, our DIY kit includes all the needed supplies and materials to do an at-home carbon repair. With the proper materials and instructions, you can be on your next ride even faster than before. For anything that's a larger, more complicated repair, please don't hesitate to reach out to Predator Cycling. One of our technicians will be happy to assist you with a quote. Please visit our site to see our latest custom carbon builds, as well as our carbon components and our shop apparel. Also, check out our custom carbon accessories, such as the Razorback 2.0, which is our carbon fiber race number holder for road racers and triathletes alike. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you liked the video, you can go ahead and click on the subscribe button here, and you can get all of our latest videos. If you missed any part of the DIY carbon repair video series, you can catch both part 1 and part 2 here. And guys, thanks again for watching.